Hey everybody, welcome back to Speak New Life Coaching. I'm Davina and I really hope that everybody who's tuned in to watch this video today, whatever day it may be that you happen to watch this, that you are having a fantastic day, because in truth this is a day that the Lord has made and he says that we shall rejoice and be extremely glad in it. And so, honestly, if we could just wake up with a sense of appreciation every single day, recognizing that God has given us a brand new day to do life with him, that actually it becomes quite exciting. It becomes quite exciting when we realize that we're not doing life by ourselves. God's not expecting us to just trudge through life, but he's actually laid out a path before us that's quite exciting. And when we lean into him, he begins to show us some things. I just want to say thank you to every lady so far that has signed up for the God, Where is My Husband challenge. It is exciting to see so many of you sign up and decide that you are no longer okay with just sitting in a corner somewhere and just letting life deal you what it wants to deal you. That you are willing to stand up and expect, raise your level of expectancy of seeing something change in your life, right? Because I was just here reading through Romans 4. I've been reading through a number of things. I had my book. So this is my book over here, Speak New Life into Old Dreams. And I was kind of reading through it in preparation for the challenge and stuff, because this is where the idea pretty much came from. So the idea for the challenge, God, Where is My Husband, right, came from a place of when I was in a season of disappointment. And God showed me simple steps on how to keep my hope up, how to keep his truth and his word in my mouth, how to declare what it was that he was saying, and how to remain expectant in his promises, his faithfulness and his goodness, right? And so that is basically what the challenge is about, because I know, again, many of you are asking questions. You've done things the way that you thought you were supposed to do things. You've accomplished things that you thought was going to lead you to a certain place. And now you find yourself in a season where it doesn't look like those things are now even possible, right? Those things are taunting you, in some cases even tormenting you, and trying to convince you that there's no way, no chance, no how, no never is this thing ever going to be a part of your future and your reality. So you may as well just let it go somewhere, let it go and die, because what is the point? Because here you are at the age of 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65 even. And this thing is saying, look, if it hasn't shown up by now, what makes you think that this thing is ever going to show up? And it may be a husband, it may be the family that you've always wanted, it may be the job, the career, it may be the house, whatever it is, whatever that thing is, it's like na 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 in your face right now, right? Pretty much. And if anybody doesn't understand that whole na 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 thing, I don't even know where that just came from. But when I was in school, when I was in primary school, one of the things that the kids used to do was like, na 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 na, you can't catch me, you can't catch me, basically. And so maybe perhaps that's what your desires are currently saying to you. It's like too far gone, there's no way. But before, I just want to get into that, because I was going to go to Romans 4 first, right? But as I was just saying that, it came to me, and I think it's in, let me just go see before I tell you where it is, just to make sure it is over there, because I could be wrong. I was wrong. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you, in the name of Jesus? It's funny. I thought it was in John 5. It wasn't. Then I thought maybe Luke 5. It wasn't there either. It was actually in Mark 5. I just want to take you to Mark 5, right? Because it's the story of Jairus and his daughter. When Jairus came to Jesus, and he came to Jesus because, he was in a situation where it looked like, well, not even looked like, it was, his daughter was dying when he came to Jesus. And he knew that he'd already seen enough of what Jesus could do for him to believe, right? And so he knew that Jesus was the person that he needed to go to. But I just want to talk on some things, right? Because he said in Luke 5, starting from verse 21. And it says here, when Jesus had crossed again by the boat to the other side, many people gathered to him, and he was beside the sea. One of the rulers of the synagogue named Jairus saw Jesus and came and fell at his feet and earnestly asked him, "My daughter is lying at the point of death. I ask you to come and lay your hands on her so that she may be healed and she will live." Right? And so Jesus went with him. So we see here that Jairus was in a situation and his daughter was about to take her last breath. She was gravely ill and he didn't know where else to go, but he knew that he could go to Jesus, right? So he went to Jesus and he laid himself before Jesus and just said, "Look, I know that if you can come and see my daughter, she's going to live. Like, I don't know how, I don't know what, I just know that she's going to live," right? And so it says Jesus went with him. But as we know, along the way, the woman with the issue of blood came, disturbed everything that was going on with Jairus. And then Jairus had to patiently, anxiously wait in the whole process of seeing that, knowing full well that his daughter was ill somewhere, but then watching this miracle before him, right? But then when that whole miracle was over, he then went on saying, let me just find it. Okay. So I think if we start back at 32, around 32. And it says here, and he looked around to see her who had done it. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the entire truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction," right? So in the whole craziness of everything, Jairus came to get Jesus. Jesus was making his way to Jairus's house to go see his daughter. The woman with the issue of blood turns up. Then Jesus got distracted with the woman with the issue of blood. She ends up getting completely healed after touching the hem of his garment. Jairus is still there. And whilst they're all trying to take in all of this information, all of these events and things that are happening, here comes along somebody from Jairus's house, right? The spokesman, the spokesman with the news, as it were. And it says in verse 35, it says, while he was still speaking. So while Jesus was still speaking to this lady, it's like someone came from the house of the synagogue ruler and said, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" Now I can imagine that even in this, Jesus is talking to this lady, and then here comes this person to tell Jairus the bad news, as it were. And he's probably like said, coming over and whispering and say, don't disturb the teacher anymore. There's no point in harassing him. It's all hope is gone. All hope is lost. It's too late. Your daughter's dead. Jesus, if he'd come a little bit earlier, then maybe your daughter might have been all right. But now that she's dead, just shrink away. Don't even worry about it. Like, forget about it. Jesus can't help you anymore. So let's just go. Because he didn't even wait for Jesus to finish speaking. They wanted to talk to Jairus while they thought that Jesus was distracted, right? But Jesus heard these words, and he said, when he heard the word that was spoken, he said to the ruler of the synagogue, "Do not be afraid, only believe." Right? Why? Because what had Jairus said to Jesus in the beginning? He says, "I know that if you come with me, she will live." Right? So now here comes a word to make him afraid, to believe that Jesus can't help him anymore. His situation and circumstances has gone far beyond anything that Jesus can now do or change. Right? And so in that, Jesus was like, in an instant, he was talking to the lady. Before he finished talking, this person came to say something. He heard what was being said. He now put his attention back on Jairus and said, whatever that person told you, whatever they just told you, shut it down. Shut it down. Don't even listen to it, right? Let it go, because that is not what you came to me for. What did you come to me for? What did you come to me for? Remember that. Keep that at the forefront of your mind, and keep that, because do not hold on to what this person has told you. Hold on to what you came and said to me. And he says, do not be afraid, only believe. Now, why am I sharing this, right? Why am I sharing this story? Because there is a voice that is speaking to you. There's a voice that speaks to all of us, and it tries to get us to undermine, to not believe, to step away from what Jesus has already told us by way of his word, what God has already said and promised by way of his word, right? This is what it's trying to do. And it may be your age. It may be the length of time that you've been waiting. It may be your situation, the supposed circumstances. Something is trying to tell you that you can't believe Jesus and take him at his word, right? But here Jesus is saying, only believe. What is it that you're believing me for? What is it that you started out believing me for? There was a time and a place when you believed me that you was going to have those things that you said. And now you are allowing circumstances and situations to tell you that I can't do what I said I am able to do. He said, don't do that. Don't do that, right? Which brings me to Romans 4, and it's 4 verse 16. And this is basically talking about Abraham and how Abraham had received the promise, right? He received the promise from God way before there was any evidence that he could even dare to believe what God was saying, right? And it says here in Romans 4:16, it says, therefore the promise comes through faith, so that it might be by grace, that the promise would be certain to all the descendants, not only to those who are of the law, but also those who are of faith, of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made you the father of many nations, before God, whom he believed, and who raises the dead, and calls those things that do not exist as though they were. So we see here that Abraham had to believe what God had told him, and it had to be by way of faith. It could not be by way of his circumstances. It could not be by way of where he was at when God gave him the promise, because where he was at, he was an old man. His wife was barren. She was old. They had no children. There was no future there in the natural. But God said, come outside, look at the stars. Can you count them? See, you can't even count them. I want you to know that this is the amount of children I am going to bless you with, to the point where you can't even count them. God said that to him when he had nothing to hope in except hope itself, right? And so he said, against all hope, this is reading from 18, against all hope, he believed in hope, that he might become the father of many nations, according to what was spoken. So shall your descendants be. There, he said it. He said, I'm going to believe in hope. I'm not going to believe in my circumstances. I'm not going to believe in the things I can see. I'm not going to believe in what I can feel. I am going to believe in hope according to what? According to what the word has spoken. I'm going to believe what God has told me. I'm going to hold on to what God has told me, right? And then it says, and not being weak in faith, he did not consider his own body to be dead when he was about 100 years old, nor yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He did not waver at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to God, and being fully persuaded that what God had promised, he was able to perform. He held on to what God said because he believed in the God who cannot lie. Now, the reason why I'm doing this challenge, right, is because this is what God was showing me. And he was showing me, like, from the blueprint of Ezekiel 37, but other verses that he tied into it. He says, I need you to know what I have already said. And then I need you to take what I have said and align what you are saying to what I am saying. Because if you would just simply agree with me and get fully persuaded that what I have promised, what God has promised, I'm more than able to perform, you will begin to see what it is that I have promised you. So my question is to you, what has God promised you? What has he said to you? What has he said to you that you are being tempted to back away from because somebody or something else has come along and said, Don't trouble the master anymore. There's no point. Your daughter is dead. Who has been whispering in your ear to suggest to you that you can't believe God and take him at his word anymore? Who and what? Because this is the plan and the desire for the challenge over these 3 days of the God, where is my husband challenge. We are gonna one, uncover those dreams that you had in your heart that you have not even looked at for however long, because every time you even glimpse at them, it hurts. It hurts. The disappointment is there, the frustration is there, everything that's coming in to tell you it's not going to happen for you. So now you've shelved it, you put it up there, and you don't even look at it anymore. In fact, you put it out of your eyesight because you don't even want to consider it anymore because it hurts. Those are the things that we are going to be dragging out of the shelf, blowing the dust off, and reinvestigating, looking at them again. But now, instead of just looking at them again through our eyes, we are going to allow ourselves to look at them through God's eyes. What is God saying about those things that you have shelved? Because here he says, do not be afraid. Only believe. Only believe. Do you believe, whatever your name is, that God, I am able to do those things which I promised you? Because I can assure you of this. God's not asking you to work this thing out in your own strength and your own ability. He is asking you to believe that he is able to perform those things which he has promised. And the moment you start doing that and raising your level of expectation towards God's goodness and his faithfulness, things will begin to change. And we'll get into that in the challenge. So if you believe that you have a dream that you have shelved and you think that there's just dust there, that thing's dead, there's no hope for it, and you've been asking somewhere along the lines, God, where is my husband? Where is my house? Where is this career? Where is my life? Where is this thing that I thought was going to be a thing, and yet it's still not here? This challenge is for you. This challenge coming up on the 13th of August is for you. It's a free 3-day challenge. And if you are interested in joining the challenge, you can go to www.speaknewlife.com/husband. So that's www.speaknewlife.com/husband. And you may be asking, why am I talking about this challenge all the time? Because these simple things that he showed me and taught me changed me, changed my life. Took me out of a place of the shadows where I thought I didn't have a future anymore. I thought I was beginning to buy into the lie that was telling me that there was nothing left, especially coming out of another failed relationship. You just exhausted all of your energy. You just put all your energy into that and then nothing. What makes you think you're going to get anything now? There's no point. You might as well just coast and go along and live life. And yeah, it's all right, but don't expect anything great. It's a lie. It's a straight lie. God says exceedingly and abundantly above all you can ask or imagine. This is the life he has planned for you. And if you want to go on a journey to begin discovering what God has for you, sign up for the challenge. There's already a number of women who are coming expectant. And I would love you to be one of them. Okay. Bye-bye.